Hey, gang. All right. We're all about wavetables and ring mod today. Just gonna play for a bit. Give me 5. let's see. Let's bring some of this down a little bit. How's it going, everybody? Let's see who's here today. Happy Sunday. Let's see. I need a mouse pointer, don't I? It's on one of these monitors. Let's see. Andy, Rich, My Case, Rabbit, Morial, Audrey, and Emotion. Hey, thanks for coming. Let's see. Who am I missing? Morial, Xerix Corp. Nice. Andy, I didn't think you were going to be here. Let's see. Eric S. Nice. Thanks for coming. I hope that was okay. Little performance there. Today it's all about ring mod and wavetables. I was going to mess around. People were talking about ring mod last night, and I was thinking about wavetables, and the two go together. So it's always fun. Let's see. Oh, Andy's gone. All right, cool. That's more like it. I thought he said he wasn't going to be here. So go be with your family. Nanoside, hey man. Glad you showed up. Happy St. Patrick's Day for those of you who do that where you are. 5-pin din, hey. So Eric S says help me like ring mod. All right, well, let's get into it. So I did a little performance there, 10-ish minutes, and let's talk about this bed that's running underneath it. So this bed is 2 instruments running, and it's pretty much all ring mod. It's 2 voices out of the modular, actually, that are doing walking through some wavetables. So the timbre's kind of shifting. I'll take all the effects off and we can listen to it. And then the effects that are processing these shifting wavetables are basically ring mod, a low pass filter, and a whole lot of reverb. And then there's a couple of LFOs that are basically technically function generators, not LFOs, but LFOs functionally function generators that are tweaking a low pass filter and then tweaking the ring mod settings. So Pedro, welcome. All right, so let's see. Now, the ring mods are actually running in Ableton. I wanted to share. This is my favorite ring mod pedal. I don't know if I could put this here. This is the Electro Harmonics ring thing. It was a gift from my wife. If you like pedals, this is hard to beat as far as ring mods go. And you're not hearing it today. You're hearing a software ring mod. But if you're looking for a good ring mod, this is sort of like the classic standard. I'm sure there are lots of weirder ring mods out there now. But that one's been around for a really long time, and I like it. And it also has expression CV input. So if you want to work it into your modular, or if you got a semi-modular synth, I like mixing the CV out from the subsequent 37 as like take the LFO out from there, or the envelope out, and run that into the ring thing as a modulator. It works well. But let's talk about these sounds. Now, let's see. This is an experiment today. We've got the pads, we've got the face, and then we've got the instrument trail of what's going on in Ableton here. So let's mute one of the 2 voices. So, all right, so we're listening to the high voice here. And let's see, is that coming through? I think that's coming through. All right. The way Ableton works, if you're not an Ableton guy, is you can think of the audio as a river flowing from left to right. So the audio is coming in on the left side of the screen down at the bottom here, and it's flowing into a tuner because that's my personal obsession. And then basically we'll talk about the stuff that's going through. But what I want to do is isolate one of the voices and turn off all the effects. All right. So this is the naked sound that's coming from one oscillator out of the modular. Still has reverb on it though, but there's no ring mod, nothing else. So there's a big ass black hole style reverb running on it. Actually, we'll kill that too. There it is. All right. So this is a Braids module oscillator coming out of the modular. It's not being filtered. It's just coming straight out. And the setting for it, and I'm going to turn it down a little bit because it can get a little fatiguing. There's a setting for the oscillator that's basically a linear wavetable of every wavetable in the system. Like normally wavetables are two-dimensional, right? And so you can go through tables, and then on each table you can scan through the different frames of the table. You can do that with Braids, but it's also got a setting where it takes all of the tables and then lines them all up into one Mungo table, and you can use CV to pan through that, and you can do morphing transitions or non-morphing transitions. So let me turn this up for a second. You can hear it shifting its timbre as it goes through. All right. So it's basically going to walk through all of the timbres in the table. Okay. All right. So I'm going to turn the reverb back on. Right, reverb makes a big difference. I'm not going to say all the difference. All right, and then let me walk through the effects in this chain. I'm just going to turn it back on. I'm not doing this so you can recreate it necessarily. I'm just going to talk about functionally what's happening here, and you can recreate this in your DAW or using pedals or recreate it in your modular. You can do whatever you want. All right, so a ring mod. I'm not doing class that's explaining what ring mod is and all of that. I'm not going to go there. But effectively, ring mod is a bit like FM modulation. It's basically taking a signal and modulating it against another signal. Okay, sort of like frequency modulation. I think it's amplitude modulation actually. And because when ring mods are on slow settings, they sound like not a vibrato, a tremolo, right? It comes in and out. Whoa, 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 right? Yeah, Live 12, the tuner works on push 2 in Live 12. Yeah, so yay. Anyway, hey Ben. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to turn a filter off here. All right, here's that signal. It's running through a ring mod. This is our ring mod here that I've highlighted. And the wet dry knob on the ring mod, so the effect it's having on the audio is actually closed. It's not having any effect. And over here I've got a function generator, something that's like an LFO or like an envelope that's turning the wet dry up and down periodically. So you hear that swooping sound? Those are the side bands of a ring mod coming in, having its effect. Right. Now I know that, let me turn this down. I know that the pitch I'm playing is A. It's an A, and I'm tuned to A440, right? So on the ring mod, the modulation signal I have tuned to 220 hertz, which is also an A, right? I'm going to screw with this so you can hear what it's like when it's not in tune with the note. So actually, I'm going to temporarily turn off that. There's your ring mod effect. Let me bring it down. I am Now the question is, am I changing the thing that I think I'm changing? Yep, this is the ring mod. Come on back. And if I slow it down enough, it should sound like a tremolo, although it's not. I've got something else happening here that's doing some kind of sidebands, and that's not it. Oh, well. School's over. Effectively, there's a device called Shifter in Ableton, and it's got a setting in it for ring mod. And I'm modulating the wet dry so you get the sort of ring mod effect coming in and out. And I've got the, there we go, 220. And I've got the ring mod tuned to an A, which is the same pitch as the drone. That helps. When you don't have the ring mod tuned to whatever note's playing, it's going to sound more metallic. It's going to sound atonal and sort of clangorous. The ring thing will listen to the notes you're playing into it and will attempt to keep itself in tune as one of its settings. Or you can step on the pedal and it will tune to whatever note's playing through. So if you can play the root note of the key you're in, step on the ring thing, it'll tune itself as far as the ring mod frequency is concerned to your root note, and then it'll sound a lot, I'm not going to say nicer, it's going to sound closer to the root, right? Now, the ring mod's doing these swooping noises, and then I've got an auto filter that I basically have closed all the time. And then there's another function generator that is opening and closing it periodically. All right. So that's basically my recipe for making space noises, right? So ton of reverb. I don't even have any delay on this, so this is a rare thing. It's reverb but no delay. It's not at Synth Seeker's place, but yeah, there's no delay on this. It's just the wavetable oscillator sound going into a ring mod that's tuned to the root note, and then the wet dry knob on the ring knobs being modulated by a function generator. That's going into a low pass filter, which is being opened and closed by another function generator. So you're getting these sort of behaviors. And then I've got basically two of them. That's the high end we're listening to, the high end voice. And then there's a low end voice. Audrey, you'll like this one. Yeah, I'm going to upset the 432 crowd. Yeah, I am. It's okay. You can tune to 432 if you want. I'm not, I'm a spiritual guy. I'm not necessarily a mystical guy, right? So all the people who think that A432, tuning your A to 432 hertz versus 440 hertz, which is sort of like the Western standard. A bunch of people say A432 is like, in sync with the planet and the Schumann. There's a bunch. If you search for A432, there's a ton of videos out there, both advocating it and a bunch of videos mocking the people who advocate it. I'm not a believer in the Schumann mystical stuff. Right? I'm more practical. I like A440, not because I think it's closer to God or anything like that. It's because it's a hell of a lot easier to collaborate with people because most people are tuned their A to A440. And if you're going to collaborate with someone and you're going to trade audio back and forth and you're tuned to A432 and they're tuned to A440, your stuff's going to be out of tune. And you know how I am with tuning, right? So I don't do A432. Oh, that feels good. There's this low rumble. I don't know if it's coming across the stream, but it's like, my brain is vibrating on some of those. Yeah. Okay, good, Audrey. I'm glad we served you well. Anyway, so my recipe for space noises, I've got a couple videos out on the channel. If you search for, there are 2 videos that have the phrase space whales tagged to them. They're all about ring mod, both in the box, and then there's a video about using the ring thing. It's like summon the space whales. I love ring mod into delay and reverb. Let's bring the other one back in. We'll bring the high one in. Oh, I just love that. And basically, if we take that and we put a little arpeggiation over it, and then as far as doing things to screw with the ring mod, so if I can take, in the modular I can reach over to the oscillator and just retune it. I've got some on the Metropolix, I have it not running, okay? And basically, I shouldn't say not running. I should say it's, there we go. There we go. I've got the Metropolix running, but really, really slow. I've got the Metropolix running at like 16 pulses per beat, where normally it's like, you know, it's usually a much higher rate. So basically, the Metropolix is at a steady state, and I've got it set up so that it's only playing one stage at a time, so it doesn't actually step through anything. And I've got a dial set, a macro set up, so that I can dial through the stages. I'm not going to show that to you. It's RTFM, right? If you've got a Metropolis, or Metropolix. But I've basically set the stages up to be the notes of this key I'm in, and I could reach over and change the drone that's coming in. So now I've got other notes from the key. All right, that's an E. We're in the key of A minor. Take it to F. As we get away from A, the ring mod gets more metallic, more clangorous. We're playing F, but it's tuned to A. Take it up a little bit more. We'll go to D. And you could totally sequence these changes. I'm just manually reaching in because I tend to leave it on the root. Whales gargling in space. All right, and then as far as synths go, what are we using today? So we've got a third wave. While the third wave is a wavetable synth, it is playing a wavetable, it just doesn't sound like it. It's actually a flute-like patch, high lead. And it is moving through the frames of its wavetable, but the waves are all similar, and it's just giving us a humanized sort of sound. Right, I don't know about you guys, but wavetables are hot. right? Every synth now just about supports wavetables of some kind, and people are all, you know, Twitter about it. What is it? Yuhi Heckman, Urs Heckman's coming out with Zebralet 3. I'm really excited about that because it's got a really nice wavetable editor in it that allows you to export. And I don't know all the features yet as far as how many samples long and how many frames it'll let you do if you can export to things other than his synths. Like, I'd love to be able to use his wavetable editing tools to make wavetables for all of the synths I have that do wavetables. So fingers crossed on that one. But because wavetables are so ubiquitous in the synth world right now, and everybody loves using them, and everyone tends to do the same thing, they scan through them, right? That's what the background whale sounds are, right? We're scanning through wavetable, mangling it with a ring mod. In your bread and butter playing, you know, pads and basses, I get wavetable fatigue. I get tired. My ear gets burnt out on like hearing these shifting sounds, these like wildly shifting sounds. So when I'm approaching wavetables lately, not always, but lately, I'll take wavetables that only offer a little bit of variation, that don't change super dramatically over the course of the wavetable. I like to be able to traverse a wavetable to add expression or to add a human quality, right? And I think that on the third wave, this particular synth patch is doing that. There are other ways to do this, like, you know, an LFO that comes in or, you know, fades in vibrato, or you mess with the mod wheel to change a parameter, or use aftertouch or pressure or MPE. All of those are still valid. This isn't replacing those, but I think that sounds pretty good, so I like it. This is a Cobalt 8. And it's not a wavetable synth. I just needed a lead. I wanted a virtual analog. Since we've got this sort of Space Wheels mangled, you know, wavetable ring mod thing going on in the background, there's all this timbre shifting, right? I want a lead like the previous one that's pretty flat. Right? It holds its own while everything's churning underneath it. Organic feel, yeah. Right, so when I'm using wavetables or ring mod, when I've got the timbres churning, my leads and my basses to a large degree will often be flat things. Now this is a layered patch. This is off the Modwave. This is probably my favorite preset off the Modwave. I'm a big preset user. It's called, what's it called? I was going to say Santorini, but that's an island in the Mediterranean. It's called, it's one of the moons of Jupiter or Saturn. Cassini? No, that was the space probe. What's it called? I don't remember. I could walk over there, but then I'd have to get up and unwire myself. It's got sort of this clicking ARP under it. It's got a sort of bass pad, and it's got a high whistle with a big, long glide on it. We were looking at a video on the Discord server the other day. It was an old Alexander Robotnik video. It was called like N5 from Outer Space. It's this great electronic music piece that he does with his collaborator. I want to say it's Alexei. Can't remember his name. Basically, it's two old guys who look. Their names are like Russian sounding, but I think he's French. And he does this sort of lead bit where he's got this heavy glide on what looks like a wasp, I think. Cassini, maybe. He's got a wasp synth, and he's basically going between a couple octaves, just making it whistle back and forth, kind of like. And that's just something that works in this space, right? So a lot of glide. All right. The problem with using everything with wavetables is that you can't tell anything apart. You get basically soup. If soup's here, I'm sorry. Oh, hey, Andy. Welcome back. Speaking of CS80. Don't own a CS80. I actually don't aspire to owning a CS80 because they're really big and really heavy. I mean, expense aside. And I like the sound, but I can get that sound in other tools. So Andy, you'll have to go back and watch, but all of the that's ring mod. Next. There we go. Anyway. There was some rumble there from the low end ring mod. That one made my ears shake. Let's do a little bassy Berlin loop. Real short. is a jazz note in here somewhere. See if I can hunt it down really quick. There it is. That's not bad actually. I'll tell you this, if you use Ableton 12's new scale awareness is nice for finding unintentional notes. Like you can decide quickly during a performance whether you want to keep it or not. Well, you'll hear it. And I think it works. I'm not going to move it. I'm not going to correct it. Here it is right here. And the thing is, the new scale view lets you find them really quick. So if you do want to get rid of it, you can quickly find it, jump to it, remove it. You could even do it on the push, although I don't want to mess with that right now. Deleted. Art is transient. I thought I was going to go somewhere with that, but I don't know. Let's bring a pad in. Catching up with the chat here. Hey, Black Rabbit. If anyone snuck in and I didn't notice, sorry. That is a perfectly valid reason to not be here, Anna. Go try. Installing new software toys to play with is worth leaving the stream for. It's fine. for those of you who haven't been to any of the streams, looked at any of the streams from January, which you don't need to, there's too many. I work in monophonic lines for the most part. I tend not to play chords. I tend to build chords by layering single lines. And I refer to it as deedle-deedle music because that's what my mother used to call Bach, when Bach would do two-part inventions, you know, each hand playing a monophonic line, and the harmonies that would be formed by that is, she would call that deedle-deedle music, because he'd get up on the harpsichord or the organ and go deedle-deedle-deedle-deedle. Anyway, so it's stuck. It's a thing in my head. So the way I write music is basically everything is a single line. There's very few chords. But the chords come out of having layers working on top of each other. So if you're wondering why I'm not playing, you know, dominant 7th add 9, that's why. What you played on one of the other things, you can play a harmony with yourself, right? Perhaps poorly. Let's give it a shot. All right, let's try here. There we go. Let the ring mod do its thing for a minute. Let's catch up in the chat. Let's see. Don't forget to knock the like button. Thanks. Thanks if you do. If you don't, that's fine. This stream does not put food on my table. So, for some people it does. But, all right, let's see. Enzo, if you have been in here a while and I just noticed you, hey, welcome. You only make deedle deedle by accident. Okay. Let's see. Nice, Black Rabbit. You sound like you're actually... Are you... If you're in university or you're in school for music, that's pretty cool. I came this close. So I had a choice. It was work in tech or quit my job in tech and enroll at Berkeley here in Boston. But I had a wife and a child. So it was sort of like lucrative, poor. So you're allowed to have, what do they say? A lot of people have a new career every 10-ish years, 10 to 12 years. People tend to, or some people tend to have a new career. Yeah, no. 30 years, one career, same thing. So this is just a side hobby. Yes, Rick Bass subdist. That's the one thing I wasn't sure about. I have to be super careful because now that you can see parts of the desktop, this is the first time I've ever shared the desktop. You get to see the things I name things, right? I once had an Ableton set that I shared in a video, and the name of the set was called Hazel Ra, Hazel-R-A-H, which is a rabbit reference. If you know what Hazel Ra is, type it in the chat. But someone pulled it out of the comments. They were like, hey, reference of blah. So it's cool. Andy's modular is warming up. Cool. Go lucrative, Black Rabbit says. Nice. That's cool, man. It's all good. Follow your bliss. What do they say now? Do the thing you like. All right. Let's do this. What are we doing on time? 2:54. We're coming close to the end, actually. I usually go about an hour. So, Anna, I hope your install goes well. I hope you find something useful there. Really, to just cover it, to bookend it, what I'm going to do is we're listening to some ring mod drones in the background. At the beginning of the stream, I disassembled them so you could hear what they sound like without all the processing. I'm just going to do that, and we'll call it a night. So if you were here for the very beginning, feel free to run off. But there are two voices. Let's see. There are two voices playing out of the modular. Okay. There's a high voice and a low voice. So I'm going to turn down the high voice for a minute, because I don't think I played the low voice in isolation. All right, that's the big space whale. Now what this is it's a wavetable, it's a Braids, two Braids wavetable oscillators set to their setting that takes all of their wavetables and arranges them in a line, one big linear wavetable. And I've got some CV coming out of the Oct LFO that's basically making the sound morph across the entire set of wavetables. That is coming into Ableton, which is getting mangled by an Ableton ring mod device, which is then getting sort of modulated from a filter perspective by an auto filter, and both of those are being changed by a couple function generators in Ableton. Ableton has a function generator called Shaper. So if you're searching for LFO, there are LFOs in Ableton under the modulation category, but there's a much more useful, or I think interesting, modulation device called Shaper, which can work just like an LFO, but it allows you to draw arbitrary curves. Okay. So let's do this. Let's turn off our reverb. I don't know if that's too loud or not loud enough, but all right. So I'm going to turn off our filter here. It might actually get too loud when I do this. Yeah. All right, that is the low end wavetable coming out of the modular, running through the ring mod. And the ring mod is basically having its rate and its modulation rate and its wet dry value modulated by one of these function generators. If I turn off the ring mod, those are the wavetable oscillators coming out of the modular. They're just braids. It's called Wavetable Linear, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, W-Lin. And it's basically, they're an octave apart, and they're just running through it. If I turn one down, basically that's it. And it's just slowly morphing through, I think, 64 wavetables. Right. So long, Zarix. Good to see you. Look at me, I'm waving to the screen. All right. So it's a complex waveform that's going through the ring mod. Right. I'll turn the ring mod back on. That's going then into a low-pass filter, which is also being modulated by a function generator. And so as the filter is closed, we hear nothing, and then it starts to open. Come on. And then it's got a little chorus on it, and then there's no delay in this, believe it or not. I said that earlier. I usually put delay on everything. There's just reverb. And the high voice is basically exactly the same thing, except the function generators are running at a slightly different rate, so they don't stay synced. They kind of overlap in phase. And that's the high voice, right? And that's about it. So, all right. I think that's good for today. What am I missing in chat? So is the wavetable or the ring mod giving the bit crunch-like effect? That's the ring mod. The ring mod is doing something that sounds like bit crunching. That sound right there. That's ring mod. Oh, congratulations, Audrey. Nice. Good deal. Buy more synths. It's good to have synths. So is the live ring mod just the same as a ring mod module? Sort of. The live ring mod is part of a device called shifter, which is either a pitch shifter or a frequency shifter or a ring mod. It could do those three sort of behaviors. I've got it set for ring mod mode, and it's a very nice ring mod. Earlier I was talking about the Electro Harmonics ring thing guitar pedal, which is also a very nice ring mod. That was my first ring mod. And I tend to use this with the subsequent 37. They pair really well together. But ring mods are, I don't think there's such a thing as a bad ring mod. It's just how many inputs does it have for modulating its settings. And the settings on a ring mod are relatively simple. It's a blend of how much wet versus dry signal. There is a wave, an LFO wave going on in there. Some of them have different shapes of those waves, right? This ring thing will, it's continuously variable from square to triangle, square to sine to triangle, right? But other ring mods may have fancier stuff. Then there is like a filter. Generally there's a filter in a lot of ring mods these days. So a ring mod signal generates the original pitch plus two what are called sidebands. A sideband is the pitch that's higher than the original signal and a pitch that's lower than the original signal. And some of the fancier ring mods have filtering so that you can switch and say, I only want the upper band or I only want the lower band, or you want both. Because generally, harmonically, the upper and lower bands are not copacetic. They get real atonal. They don't play. They're dissonant with each other. So if you filter one of them out and just have the fundamental with like the upper band, it's prettier sounding. So a lot of ring mods will let you filter that stuff out. So I'm going to take a screenshot of that, Audrey. I love spending money on synths. I'm literally going to screenshot that. Oh, wait. It really helps if you use the right keyboard. Thank you very much. I'm just going to save that one there. I love spending money on synths. Right. Don't we all when we have it? Let's see. The Doper only has 2 inputs and 1 output. So audio input and then audio output, and then the other input is probably the rate of the ring mod oscillator. Right? It might have a depth control. I don't know. So let's see. Prophet 6 has a ring mod. Yep. I am ring. There's no the bass voice has a chorus at the end after the ring mod filter chorus. The upper one does not. It's just ring mod into filter into reverb. So let's see. Because of the harmonic series, I don't think the ring mod follows. You know what it is? I think the upper band may be in the harmonic series, but the lower band is the subharmonic series, which I don't like the sound of the subharmonic series. It goes out of pitch, out of equal temperament too fast for me. So, hey, Dr. Cynthio, welcome. We're just wrapping up, so that's okay. You can never have enough LFOs. I need more LFOs myself, actually. Input A and B and they just multiplied them. Okay, so that's how the Doper one works. So here's signal A and signal B. It's multiplied. So send a sine wave into B that's really low, and send a pitch into A, and then crank the frequency of B and see what happens. That basically you'll get sounds similar to what you're hearing right now. So yeah. Anyway, all right, everyone. I think that's good. We can totally nerd out, but what's going on? It's St. Patrick's Day here, and I'm 1/4 Irish, but we're not going to do anything. I don't like corned beef and cabbage, and I don't drink beer, so there'll be no green beer for me. But anyway, thanks for having fun with me today. I think I am good to go. I have I'm working on a video, just a regular release video, which it'll probably be out in a week or two. Something new has happened for me. That whole concept of like working with limitations when you're in your creative endeavor, whatever it is, that whole you create limitations, move your art forward. I don't disagree with that, but on a whim, I did the opposite. And I said, you know what? No limits. I'm going to put all the things in the bucket and let's see what happens. And suddenly I'm making more music in the last 10 days than I have in the last 2 years. So I'm going to try and psychoanalyze myself and put a video out about how the other side of the coin of limitations are good. Well, no limitations might also be good, or I'm really weird and it shouldn't be working, or maybe I'll crash and burn, or impending, maybe I didn't survive any of that cardio stuff and now I'm just in heaven and I'm streaming and the music's coming. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, so look for that if you're interested. But thanks for spending time with me. My name's Luke. This has been Synth Seeker. Have a great weekend, everyone. All right.